And welcome back with my glowing fist of... Oh, hold on. Got the sunlight coming on. Yes, my glowing fist of iron. Talking about who would win for who would win week. This one comes to us from... want to make remember I got my name right here. Klaus John 12 or Elijah Bain 25. You're not fooling me on that one, buddy. Look, it's fine. I get it. You wanted me to get to more of your suggestions, so I'm assuming you had two handles. I get it. But let's be clear. Would both different handles ask for who would wins in the exact same fashion? I gotta call shenanigans a little bit on it. It's fine. But anyway, you asked the question, who would win in a fight? William, and I'm assuming you meant Willam Corvinus from the Underworld series versus Albert Wesker, particularly from Resident Evil 5. Now, truth be told, I'm probably just going to use Wesker at his full capabilities, let alone Resident Evil 5. So yeah, that's the Wesker we're using. Now, I've had Wesker on here before. Wesker is an enhanced human. He's personality-wise, he's very power-hungry, traitorous, manipulative, sadistic, and calculating. Supply's personality is largely stemmed from being raised as part of Spencer's Project Wesker. He is a skilled, incompetent, resourceful schemer, constantly plotting to achieve his own goals, and everything he does is meant to serve his own purpose. He maintains a calm, collected, enthusiastic manner most of the time and is always looking for payback for anyone who wronged him. In terms of his powers and abilities, he's well beyond a normal human's physical abilities. Excuse me. I had to spray something. The strength, he's able to basically throw large missiles with one hand, lift steel girders off his body, and kill a BOW with one strike. I don't know what a BOW right off the top of my head is. Wesker seems to take great pleasure in demonstrating his power so he can intimidate foes. His speed is also to the point where he can pretty much blitz, and I mean legitimately blitz you. It allows him to dodge bullets almost at point-blank range, perform short dashes at speeds faster than the brain could comprehend, and giving him the appearance of teleporting. He moves so fast it looks like he's teleporting. He has superhuman endurance. A rocket exploding in his hands only incapacitated Wesker for a moment. Thousands of pounds of steel falling on him from a few stories dazed him for a few seconds. He also has a high amount of superhuman stamina as well. He also has a regenerative healing factor. He has healed from his face getting hideously burned within minutes. When the tyrant killed him in the mansion, the virus took immediate effect as it regenerated from the fatal injuries within a few minutes. Even a bullet to the face cannot kill him. Essentially, you're going to have to take his head off or just blow his whole chest cavity out or something like that. Superhuman longevity. Since his resurrection, Wesker's physiology also appears to have stopped him from physically aging. Alright, doesn't really matter that much. Hand-to-hand combatant. Mainly relies on superhuman strength, speed, and greatly accelerated healing. He is a highly skilled gunman and military tactician from his days as a STARS member, and keeps his samurai-edged pistol holster with him at all time. So it's samurai-edged pistol holstered with him at all times, since Wesker never lets his guard down. Also, even without his enhancements of the virus, Wesker is extremely skilled in martial arts, much more enough to go toe-to-toe with a tyrant, seer, and super soldier. And genius-level intellect. So Wesker is a supremely dangerous, very powerful individual who got the shaft in the last Resident Evil movie, if I'm going to be honest, because I remember watching that and thinking, oh yeah, you're Wesker. Wow, they effed you up, didn't they? So yeah, kind of sucks for him, but ultimately, his abilities are nowhere near as enhanced in the original film in the films as they are in the games for obvious reasons. So he's immensely dangerous combatant, though he can be beaten. He's been beaten before. You'd pretty much have to blow him up, blow him to bits, dismember him, take off his head, or pretty much blow out his torso. You'd have to do something like that, because even like cracking, breaking his neck, things along those lines, if you could do it, if you had the strength to do it, probably wouldn't kill him. He'd probably heal from it. Willam Corvinus is the first werewolf, the ancestor of all Lycans. He is the second antagonist of Underworld Evolution, along with his twin brother Marcus Corvinus. Basically, there was one original human who was an immortal. He had 2 sons. One got bitten by a bat, which basically made him the first vampire and spawned the lineage of vampires. And one that got bitten by a wolf, turning him into a werewolf. Now, William, unfortunately, as a werewolf, cannot turn back, being the first werewolf, cannot turn back into a human due to his, unique physiology. As the first werewolf, his physical abilities are well beyond any normal werewolf in the series, who are already physical monsters. William was easily one of the most powerful creatures in the Underworld mythos and the most powerful member of the werewolf species. As is the first true werewolf, he cannot return to his human form, unfortunately. That is why he's the first true werewolf and all that. William cannot return to his human form, and his transformed state shows more prominent wolf traits such as a larger muzzle, superior size, and white-colored fur. He can also turn others into werewolves, and his strain of infection is known to be far more fast-acting, even turning recently deceased individuals into werewolves. In theory, I'm guessing he could even turn a werewolf into one. I don't know. I don't think it's ever been truly explained if a werewolf can turn a vampire into a werewolf. I don't think so. That's why the hybrid in the first Underworld is so important. Superhuman endurance. By all his long centuries confinement without feeding, he was able to withstand multiple injuries while remaining mostly unfazed. He survived a series of assaults from the cleaners and being shot with a light machine gun without slowing. He was tough enough to withstand a greater amount of silver than his descendants. Meaning, while he does still have the weakness of silver, he's not as burdened by it. He can withstand a far greater amount. Like, in the Underworld movie, they made special bullets that were like liquid silver, that basically went in there and went into the bloodstream. Those probably wouldn't hurt him. Superhuman strength. Yeah, William was more powerful than his descendants are. He was strong enough to pull a chain so hard that it sends a death dealer flying towards him, which Selene was a death dealer. He also kills multiple death dealers, vampires at the same time, or at the time of his capture, and only restrained after several others overwhelmed him. It's implied he killed many more with equal ease during his many centuries it took him to capture him. Even when weakened from a century-long confinement without meat or flesh to feed on, he's still able to break stone apart with his bare hands and overpower Michael in his hybrid form on a few occasions. Michael being the hybrid werewolf vampire. So that goes because the hybrid is supposed to basically be the best of both worlds, but he was able to overpower him on several occasions. Superhuman senses. In addition to his senses, Williams possesses at first and most powerful werewolf. His bond with his twin brother enables him to recognize Marcus despite centuries of imprisonment and savage nature. Despite his large size, he can jump large distances, being extremely agile, superhuman strength, can move at considerable speeds, he can catch most foes off guard, and superhuman healing. He is capable of healing wounds possibly more than others of his kind, though his confinement without food likely weaken his ability. So we're going to use him at his peak strength. Against Wesker, that's what we're going to have to do. So these two, go toe-to-toe. And let's assume that the Resident Evil actually ended up taking place in the Underworld universe. The virus, the Umbrella virus, or I can't remember exactly, the T virus, was it? That was what it was called? The T virus gets released. Wesker is, they're trying to, corporations and all control things. Wesker's, dealing with Alice. And in one of the cells, he never knew. This was like beyond even his embracing. He never knew what was in the cell. But they had found William and were able to sedate him through a combination of like a silver-laced tranquilizer. But unfortunately, when Alice starts wreaking havoc, it unleashes him and he just busts open the steel door and comes out. And Wesker's there and Alice sees him and Alice realizes, what the hell is this thing? This is not something I'm used to. I'll just leave you to chat. He's like, it's like, Alice, you get back here. And he barely is able to, avoid, William's fist. And then just slice down. So the fight actually begins. Like, so you're what they kept in there. Well, I was like, very well. Then I'm going to have to put you down, doggy. And it's like, bad boy. And then just starts shooting at him. Just do. Even shoots a couple point blank in the head. And then he just shrugs him out. The bullets come out. Wesker's like, okay, that's not going to work. And then he holsters a weapon. Is, again, barely able to move out of the way. Now, we're dealing with William at his strongest here, which means he's far stronger than your normal werewolf, far faster than your normal werewolf. However, physically speaking, at least in the speed department, Wesker's still got the edge here. from what we see, he can move so fast that it looks like he's teleporting. That's not something William can do. Durability-wise, also, I'm gonna probably lean towards Wesker as well, especially on the fighting style as in the same vein. So, look, there's a dinosaur on the screen. Jurassic World Fallen King is on there. And and the dinosaur's licking Owen's face. So Wesker would try to, do actual tactics. Problem with this is, well, I'm sure he can beat much larger individuals, definitely. He has to change his tactics up when dealing with individuals, say, like a large, like going against Alice, he doesn't have to, or anyone in the main series games, he doesn't have to, compensate for the size. He can just fight him as a normal individual. He has to compensate for the fact that William is a much larger foe than, say, something like Alice was or anything like that. So he has to compensate for that. But still, I'm pretty certain he's taking on larger foes. However, William does have an advantage in terms of sheer raw ferocity. And his regenerative factor, I would imagine, might be stronger than Wesker's, though that is debatable. So these two will go back and forth for a while. Eventually, though, through werewolf-like reflexes and savagery, he would probably finally tag Wesker, just hit him. He just comes down with a downward claw and just nails Wesker. Wesker, and he felt that. Wesker felt it because, well, I think strength-wise, it's debatable strength-wise where these two would actually peak out between each other at their peaks because we don't know what William's true peak is. We have a good idea what Wesker's is. I would have to think that they're comparable to each other. Wesker might hold the edge, but when you're talking about someone who's already got the equipment like claws and stuff a werewolf has, and he lands a sure strike on Wesker, just going taking out his face, Wesker goes down hard, and even he feels like, just starts, you bastard, starts regenerating his face. But the werewolf grabs him. Well, he grabs him, just throws him around, and he just, you mutt, and then they just clash with each other, just kind of like going back and forth. Unfortunately, he can't headbutt him, and he can't headbutt him because he's just going to bite his face off with the elongated snout. So he just starts biting at his face, and they're just struggling back and forth. He just kicks him in the stomach. William just shrugs it off. Wesker again brings out a blade. It's like, time to put you down. Time to put this bad dog, or just quote Freddy Krueger from Freddy Restriction, time to put this bad dog to sleep for good. So, gets a knife, stabs him with a grenade attached to a knife. Unfortunately, he got too close, and William takes a nice chunk, just bites on it, just rips his arm, just tears him apart. Now he's infected with the werewolf strain as well. So now he's trying to regenerate his arm. He's now got the werewolf in him. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get away, so the explosion happens with the grenade, and just boom, so they go flying across each other. Now, how does this end? Well, unfortunately, though I would love to say William is, because I think William's just cooler, he's a werewolf, and I never really played Resident Evil, I do have to go with Wesker. From what we've seen Wesker demonstrate, his actual physical abilities do surpass William ultimately. Because he's faster. He can move so fast it looks like he's teleporting. William's not that fast. He's durable enough to survive explosions to the face generally be fine. Survive thousands of pounds of steel girders falling on him, generally be fine. Regenerate having his face burned and everything along those lines. So it's just not a level of durability that we saw William demonstrate. Again, he wasn't as strong as when we saw him in the movie, but he was certainly capable. And I'm not saying he couldn't win. If this match gets in too close, if Wesker gets too close for comfort and gets caught and gets nailed by tagged by him, he's done. If he could rip his head off, I fully believe William has the ability to rip Wesker's head clean from his body, just take it off like that. But the likelihood is, because Wesker is physically comparable overall to William, And I'm William Wesker. I'm trying to keep myself from saying something different. Is physically comparable to William, and because he's a tactician, I'm certain he would, stab William, put a grenade, and blow him apart. Which he could not survive a point blank grenade to the body. That would blow him up. And even if it didn't, it would severely injure him. And Wesker has enough durability and regenerative capabilities to survive that and get up, and then probably dish out the killing blow. But that said, if it gets in close, he could take his head off. He could just bite his throat clean out and just make him bleed out. Even with Wesker's level regeneration. Hold on one second. Where did it say here? Regenerative healing factor. Virus. I mean, it's regenerating from fatal injury within a few minutes. However, there's a limit to how much, what we're talking about with healing factor. Like, you completely rip his neck off, rip his throat out, rip his chest out, rip his heart out. I have to believe Wesker is only so strong. But the likelihood is, though, Wesker's going to win. I think he's going to win about 70% of the time. There is a realistic scenario where William does get that bite in, and kill him or rip out his throat and things along those lines, or just take his head off. Especially when he gets that first clean hit in, which I believe he would eventually get a clean hit in, either an uppercut, a sideswipe, or a downward strike. Just boom, and then just gouge flesh out of Wesker. I believe that would happen. If it goes any further in William's favor, William wins the fight. But ultimately, I got to go Wesker, and I got to go a solid majority. But what do you think? Do you think Wesker wins this fight, or do you think William wins this fight ultimately? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. I just wrote into it, Star Wars Superhero Magic, what if, anything to do on the channel, put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So I got, that's today's Who Would Win. I got to do tomorrow's Who Would Win and the What If. I don't think I got any other plans today. We're still not getting it. Next week is the official week for the War of the Spark previews, but PAX East is happening this weekend as well, so I'm going to probably be doing videos throughout the weekend. So we'll see. Definitely there's going to be spoiler videos for them. Spoilers. Previews. Magic previews next week as well. But until then, I digress. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.